Harim and Bungil go to a hospital to save the life of a newborn. They are not doctors. Instead, they deal with spirits. The baby has been suffering for some time, and they are there to help. They remove all the people from the room and perform their ritual. But Harim realizes there is a bigger problem. They immediately go to the eldest son of the family, Park Ji-young. Harim explains to him that what has happened to their newborn is probably the least of the family's troubles caused by spirits. Park explains that his father has also not been himself lately and has been saying unusual things. Harim believes their grandfather is the root cause of this problem. Park is shocked to hear this. Harim tells him that the fastest way to rid the whole family of these entities is to relocate their grandfather's grave. They seek out their old colleagues for help with the relocation of the grave, Chief Young and his assistant. They explain the situation to Chief Young, and it is decided that they will go to inspect the grave site first thing in the morning. Park's mother tells him that this task is unlikely to succeed because her aunt will probably not agree to it. Park is determined to do this by any means necessary, even if it has to be done in complete silence. The grave is located in a mountain area that is completely remote. They reach the grave site. But Chief Young feels a strange sensation. He wonders why a corpse would be buried on such a mountain. There are not many details written on it, and there isn't even a date of death. His assistant urges him to finalize the date of the ceremony quickly, but Chief Young says he cannot do it this time. Young mentions that this grave might not even belong to Park's grandfather, and disturbing it could lead to disastrous consequences. Park holds a meeting with them to convince them to proceed with the task. Young states that the mountain is a cursed place and may be beyond their abilities. Harim suggests holding an ancient ceremony, and Chief Young agrees. The next morning, they head there to perform the ceremony. They bring various tools and several pigs to carry out their ritual. Just then, Park's aunt arrives and appears to be aware of everything. Harim prepares for the ceremony, and then it begins. They start chanting ancient hymns. Harim takes on the main responsibility. The others begin digging up the grave and need to do it very quickly. Harim tries to distract the spirits by stabbing the pigs while simultaneously trying to draw attention away from the sound of shoveling dirt. Finally, they reach the grave and stop the ceremony. Chief Hyung's assistant immediately realizes that this grave is made of a special material that only royal families used in the past. With their combined efforts, they quickly pull the grave out of the pit and place it inside the hearse. One of their members, who is still there, finds a snake under his feet and cuts it in half with a shovel. But on the way back, it starts to rain. The cars are stopped, and Hyung says it would be better to continue their work another day, because doing this task on a rainy day brings misfortune to the spirit of that person. Park agrees, and they transfer the coffin to a local hospital's morgue. The head of the morgue sees that this is a very valuable grave and might contain gold, so he tries to open it. Bungil and Harim arrive just then, and Bungil tries to stop him, but it's too late. The grave opens and something passes through Harim. That night, Park's house is in great danger. His father can see his own father's spirit outside the window. He asks him to open the window so he can enter, and his son does just that. The wandering spirit of the grandfather is inside the house, and nothing can stop him now. He attacks his grandson and stops his heart. His wife is downstairs and has no idea about the disaster happening upstairs with her husband, and soon it will be her turn. Park, who is in a hotel room, is unaware of the events happening at home. Hyung immediately moves toward Mr. Park. The phone rings. Park is calling, and Hyung is on the line. Hyung is very happy to hear Park's voice. He explains that the coffin has been opened and that Park needs to be careful until he arrives. There's a knocking sound at the door. Hyung's voice comes from behind the door, and Park panics. Hyung is still on the line and tells him that it's not him. Park is terrified and feels helpless. Hyung tells him that it may be too late before he gets there. He asks him to check the window to see if there's an escape route, and Park opens the window. He senses a presence above him. He panics and can't even breathe. He realizes what a mistake he has made. Hyung on the phone was not real. Hyung finally enters the room and sees Park's body possessed. Park, completely losing control, starts saying strange things and eventually coughs up a lot of blood until his time of death finally arrives. Hyung immediately informs his assistant that they need to burn the coffin as soon as possible. They rush to the crematory. The spirit of the grandfather hovers over the infant and is about to be its next victim. The baby's heart rate rises and is in critical condition. Hyung immediately informs his assistant, who begins the process. The coffin starts burning and the grandfather's spirit begins to fade away. Thus, they succeed in keeping that spirit away from the family forever. Sometime later, Hyung visits one of his men who helped dig the grave. He hasn't been well for a while and keeps hallucinating. He tells the boss that when they left, he killed a snake whose head looked like a human's, and since then, his hallucinations began. Hyung immediately goes to the gravesite and digs until he finds the snake. He is horrified by what he sees. He continues digging until his shovel hits something hard. At first, he thinks it's a buried book. When the whole group arrives and starts digging, they realize it's another coffin. But they wonder why it's buried vertically and why it's so sealed up. They carry it to a nearby temple and decide to spend the night there. They place the coffin inside a storage room and sprinkle rice and blood around it to feel secure. That night, when everyone is asleep, the temple caretaker comes over Bungil. When he opens his eyes, he sees his liver has been torn from his body. Bungil suppresses his fear and immediately performs a spell. When he opens his eyes again, it's gone. There are loud noises coming from the barn nearby. He goes into the barn and sees that several animals have been killed. But the main problem isn't the pigs. He sees a very large creature easily decapitating a person. He immediately runs away and informs Harim. They break the lock on the storage room and enter. The coffin is completely shattered, and whatever was inside has now came out. Harim finds an old military helmet inside the coffin, just as its owner arrives at the door. Harim immediately bows in front of him, hoping to save her life. She hears the creature moving on the roof, and at that moment heads for the door to escape. Bungil arrives and tries to stop him, but it's futile. He has the strength of 10 men. It wounds Bungil and leaves him there. Harim has no way to escape, but when the creature sees that this is a shrine, it shows them respect, and its entire body turns into a ball of fire. None of them can comprehend what they are witnessing. It leaves the place. Bungil is immediately taken to the hospital. Bungil is still alive for now. His sister and niece come to protect him from that spirit. They perform a ritual for Harim to summon the spirit of that creature into Bungil's body to understand who it is. She successfully summons its spirit. They realize that the protective creature is actually the grandfather who was buried there. Hyung, who is digging at the gravesite again, is shocked to see the creature. It is there, but lying down. Hyung immediately returns to the group and explains the situation to them. Apparently, it stays in the pit during the morning and only comes out at night. They devise a plan to kill it. Harim says that according to an old story, a spirit that wears iron must also have an iron needle buried with it in its grave. If that needle burns, the spirit will be destroyed along with it. Harim decides to sacrifice herself. Midnight comes, and the creature awakens. Harim immediately begins her ritual. It reaches the mysterious tree. Harim tries to trick it with her voice, claiming that it is the spirit of the tree and that it must fulfill its wishes. They quickly enter the pit and start digging. The warrior doubts the spiritual nature of that voice and immediately realizes that she is human. Harim is in danger. She runs away. She finds Hyung's assistant. He tells her that they haven't found anything. Just then, a fireball flies over their heads and strikes the pit. They quickly head towards Hyung. He is still alive but severely injured. His assistant pours horse blood over it to burn it and causes it to stay away for a while. They quickly go to help Hyung, but they also get caught up in it. Harim can see the resurrection ritual through the eyes of that creature, a ritual that will bind him for eternal protection from the general, and he is buried there. Harim is taking her last breaths when Hyung realizes that there is no iron needle involved, but now he knows how to kill it. So he wounds it again. Hyung is ready to deliver the final blow. It ends. They immediately take Hyung to the hospital and try to save him. After a few days, Hyung's condition improves as well. Thus, all four of them manage to escape the claws of death. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, you know what to do.